Ever had one of those matches where you finish, look at yourself in the mirror and think, I'm just too good? Well, that was me right after this game. I stared into the mirror and said,
I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better, I am better!
And today, I'm going to share the secrets that helped me outsmart my enemies, so you can do the same. But first, I want to make a deal with you. I'm going to ask for something at the end of this video, and if you help me out, I'd be very happy. Alright, let's dive into the gameplay and break down exactly how I pulled off this high-kill solo versus squad match. Since I was playing solo versus squad, I decided to pick a safe landing spot. But to my surprise, that so-called safe place turned out to be a hotspot, with a full squad landing right on top of me. This is definitely not the time to panic. After all, if you die, you just restart the game, so treat every disadvantage as a learning opportunity. Anyway, I decided to land with them and quickly rushed into a building with Zero. I knew there was a crate to the right, and since Zero was in front of me, I figured he'd go for it. I also knew there were crates in the rooms ahead where I could grab a gun, but there were 3 players above me and 1 on the same floor. If I ran to the rooms ahead, I'd be risking an immediate push from Zero, and even if I knocked him, the remaining players would quickly rush me from above, making it nearly impossible to survive. So, my best option was to go for the crates downstairs right away. This strategy would give me more time to loot before the players on the roof could reach me. Now, as you can see, I picked up both a URB and an MP155. Can I wipe a squad with this combination? Personally, I don't think so. So I quickly swapped the shotgun for a SCAR. Just as I made the switch, the player on the same floor as me earlier pushed, exactly as I predicted. But I stayed calm, sliding to the right. You can see that he broke both my shields and brought my health down to half, but I knew the slide messed up his aim. So, I focused on aiming for the upper part of his body, pulling up to his head to maximize damage. By staying calm and landing those headshots, I was able to knock him before he could readjust his aim, and that's how I got him down. I've taken down the first guy, but it's obviously not over yet, so I have to be very careful about how I move around. First up, I check the other crates to see if I can find anything better. I decided to swap my SCAR for the M4A1 because it has a better fire rate and more stability, which will be useful in mid-range fights. I still have my URB, but when I check the second crate, I find a P90, so I swap the URB for it since the P90's hip-fire accuracy is much better. Now, I can hear 2 sets of footsteps above me, so it's time to check them out. What I'm going to do next is something I need you to pay close attention to. So as I head into this room, I'm not just going to rush in. I want to make sure I'm not walking into a situation that'll get me killed, so I stay at the entrance and take a peek inside. When I peeked, I saw only one person in the room. He's trying to outsmart me by going through the window to attack me from behind. He probably heard my footsteps rushing up the stairs and thought he could catch me off guard. It's a smart move on his part, but he didn't execute it properly. So, I turn around and scope in on him. As he runs closer, I stop scoping, move backward, and start hip-firing. This strategy gives me a wider view as he approaches, and I won't be slowed down if he changes position slightly. With 2 of their teammates down, the remaining enemies are definitely going to push toward the location where their teammate got killed. So, the best move for me is to head to the rooftop to heal. Since that's where they started, they've likely finished looting up there, making it a safer spot for me to regroup. As I'm healing, I spot something. Or rather, someone I definitely didn't want to see while healing. A Jet user. Now seeing Jet standing there, I'm not going to reflexively start shooting. Instead, I quickly move behind cover and pop back out, just to give him the impression that I'm running away. I mean, he saw me healing, so I expect him to want to push me. But when I pop out, he's not at the door. I know he's still there though, because I didn't hear any footsteps indicating he ran off. So, I decide to go a bit further, and sure enough, he pops back out. That's when I take him down.
I'm reloading.
After finishing off Jet, I head outside and immediately hear footsteps ahead. I turn and start shooting right away. This is exactly why I chose the M4A1. Its fire rate saved me in that situation. Big time. Alright, so far from what I've done, you need to understand how to use the environment to your advantage. Stay calm under pressure, and choose the right weapon for the situation.
The safe zone is shifting.
Now, I spot this guy running into my building. If you remember from my previous videos, I always say to push immediately but wisely. As you can see, I get a few shots on him, and I know he's likely waiting to shoot me as I go through the door. So, just a reminder from my movement guide video. Always slide through doors or around corners. I slide through and get behind him, catching him off guard. But I make a mistake here. I should have used the P90 instead of the M4A1. Because of that, the enemy who's using an MP5 nearly got me killed. After taking him down, my shield is cracked and my health is low. I hear someone pushing up the stairs, and since I am using Volt, I will use his skill to try and damage their shield before they get to me. My ammo is finished, and I need to reload, but I want to take this scenario to answer a question someone recently asked in the comments. They mentioned that their movement gets hindered whenever they try to reload. That's true. You do slow down while reloading. But here's what you can do. If you have ammo in your other gun, switch to it. If your other gun isn't suitable for the situation or you're out of ammo, the best move is to spam the jump button while strafing left and right. This can help you avoid some bullets that would otherwise hit you. In my situation, I have cover in front of me, so I crouch behind it to reduce my chances of getting hit, and surprisingly, it works. So, if you have cover nearby, make sure to use it. I want to finish my kill, but I see footstep indicators, meaning someone's coming up the stairs. It sounds like a bot, but I'm not risking it to find out. I quickly run up the stairs and throw fire down to buy myself enough time to heal. This tactic is great for either scaring off the enemy, or if they decide to push through, seriously damaging them before they engage me. That way, even with low health, I still have a chance to take them down.
I'm reloading.
Now I want to show you a perfect example of why you need to take every enemy seriously. As you can see, this guy is shooting at the wall, making me think he's a bot. But I don't mess around. After I knock him, he starts to self-revive, and I'm 100% sure bots don't use self-revive. So, always take all enemies seriously. I'm buying my loadout, and I hear an enemy approaching from the left. Instead of sliding and attacking right away, I'll pretend like I'm heading into the building. When I hear the enemy getting closer, I'll pop back out and get an easy kill. After taking him down, I hear gunshots behind me, and I know those bullets were aimed at me, so I quickly take cover. Since the enemy is likely already focused on my position, I make sure to keep most of my body behind cover and use the small space available to take him down.
Godlike. Double kill. Godlike.
Moving on, and Ethan, probably one of the teammates of the guys I just took down, decided to push, and he's playing the high ground. This puts me at a big disadvantage because he can easily land headshots on me. But since I'm relying heavily on sound, I started shooting first because I knew where he'd pop up. Not the best aim, but it did the job. He dropped his shield, and I knew standing here would be a bad move because he could easily take me down. So, I moved closer, taking myself out of his line of sight and used Volt's skill. If you didn't know, Volt's skill damages any device used by strikers, like Emma's beetle drone, Hank's turret, EMT's healing beacon, and in this case, Ethan's shield. I destroyed his shield and he was probably shocked by how it happened, so out of panic he jumped off the high ground to attack me. That was his mistake, because that's exactly what I wanted. Now that he's no longer on the high ground, he's not a threat anymore and I take him out easily.
Godlike.
After taking down Mr. Ethan, I heard someone zipline from the building on the right, so I decided to check it out. Not the smartest move, considering I only had a red dot sight and could barely see the rooftop, but I got lucky and escaped. This guy was aggressive, tossing fire grenades, or maybe there was someone else. I wasn't sure. Either way, staying in the room didn't feel safe, so I tried to move to the back of the building. Just then, he threw another grenade, which got my health low. I knew he'd push after seeing the broken shield hit marker, so I hid to heal. While healing, I heard the guy from the building use a parachute to push me.
Reloading.
After I healed, I spotted a Val and took her down easily. But then the guy who pushed started shooting at me, so I had to reposition quickly. I rushed into the building, trying to figure out my next move, but thinking too hard almost got me killed. I didn't even notice when another Ethan dropped beside me. I was lucky to escape using the zipline. Just as I did, I saw an Emma drop down to the Val I knocked earlier, and I heard the Val self-revive, meaning I just lost a kill. I'm definitely not letting this team off easy. It might look like I'm running away, but that's not the case. There are 3 players in that building, my shield is cracked, and I know it would be tough to take them on in my current state. So, I'm repositioning to get the upper hand, but before I change my location, I quickly use Volt's skill. If you didn't know, his skill can slow enemies down. I aim it towards the spot where I remember the enemies were, but it didn't reach them because I didn't charge it up enough for the range. So, I just have to keep repositioning. Now, what I'm about to do next might be considered camping by some, but it's really just being strategic. I'll wait here until someone comes through, and I know someone will because there's a full team back at that building. I hear them shooting at someone else, so there are more people around. As a solo versus squad player, you have to play to your disadvantage. As I waited, I heard someone use the zipline on the left side of the building. I was ready to push him, but just then, the unfortunate player I'd been expecting used the zipline. Nothing special here. I took him down easily. But I want you to understand that, instead of pushing unnecessarily in situations where you're at a disadvantage, sometimes it's best to wait for the enemy to make a mistake. Anyway, remember the guy who used the zipline on the left side of the building? I was keeping an eye on him too. I hear him coming towards the stairs, and I take him down just as easily. If you remember from my game sense guide, I mentioned that if you're on the roof of the prison building, you should stay at the edge.
I'm patching
But
up.
as you can see, I'm in the middle here. The zone is right behind me, and anyone I expected to come from my back has already been dealt with, so I know this is a safe spot.
God,
In this situation, this is essentially the edge, and the reason I'm here is to take advantage of the high ground, allowing me to easily spot enemies.
I'm patching up. Enemy hit. I'm reloading.
After taking that guy down, I hear someone use a zipline on my right, so I want you all to pay close attention to what I do here. I know I explained this in my movement guide video, but it's worth repeating. As this enemy pushes, the first thing I do is move back slightly. It may not be noticeable, but I slide back to get a wider view of where the enemy might move, whether to the right or left. He pushes further, and I start shooting, but I notice his movement is good. He's trying to get behind me. That's when I start using the boxing method, which is basically moving in a square-like pattern while keeping the enemy in view as much as possible. Every time he tries to get behind me, I slide immediately before he can shoot and recenter him in my sights. And that's how I take him down.
godlike. Double kill. Godlike.
I'm reloading. I'm patching up.
The next kill actually pissed me off, and I'm pretty sure this guy doesn't watch any of my videos because, despite all the gunfire from the people I just took down, he didn't even bother to check his surroundings.
I'm reloading.
This shows he's definitely not using a headset or earphones. So, I ended up with a free kill.
You don't piss
Godlike.
me off. I'm reloading.
Now I understand why he was so focused. He was trying to take down a squad. As I spot the first player, I take him down without breaking a sweat and immediately transfer my aim to the second. But mid-shooting, my ammo runs out, and just as I try to reload, he snipes me, breaking my shield. I drop off the ledge, knowing the sniper still has his scope trained on where he last saw me. So instead of popping out at the same spot and getting sniped again, I quickly change my position and take him down ASAP.
Godlike.
Now I need to loot the bodies, but as I approach, I spot someone on my left. I'm not taking any risks, so I quickly move behind the fence before heading back to loot. While looting, I spot the guy at the buy station, and we exchange shots, but his aim is trash, so he doesn't land a single hit. Time to push him. Keep in mind I want to use the buy station to get some ammo, but before I do, I need to make sure the enemy isn't too close. I'll use Volt's skill to check, and if the enemy is close enough to be a threat, I'll get a hit marker. But I didn't get a hit marker, so I go ahead and use the buy station. I still need to know where the enemy is, and this spot doesn't feel safe with all the footsteps I'm hearing.
I'm patching up.
So, I buy a UAV and a Fulton balloon to change my location. After scanning with the UAV, I can see people in this area of the map, but I'll use the Fulton balloon to move to a spot where I can still keep an eye on them while staying safe. And of course, wherever I move has to be inside the zone. When playing solo like this, make sure you're always inside the zone no matter what. After changing my location, I didn't realize the enemy I was dealing with was fast and sneaky. If I hadn't been playing with headphones, he could have easily taken me out. Right after using the Fulton balloon, he somehow followed me, and I only noticed when I heard his parachute open right above me. In a situation like this, many of you might think of running away quickly. But when the enemy has the high ground, turning your back makes you an easy target. Instead, the best move is to get closer to where they're standing, which in my case is this wall. By doing this, I throw off his aim. I know he'll be trying to readjust, so I take advantage of that moment to quickly use the zip line and push him right away.
Under fire.
Just like I said, as you can see, he's trying to get back on the ledge but from a farther distance to spot me and land some shots. But I'm just faster. Now let me teach you something. Whenever you're up against someone, notice the striker they're using and quickly put yourself in their shoes. Ask yourself what you would do in their situation and how you'd counter it if it was done to you. That's how you read players. In this case, I'm up against an Emma user, and she doesn't have her Beetle drone healing her right now. I know that 90% of Emma players rely on their drone in almost every fight, so before she can even deploy it, I need to play aggressively to make her panic.
Enemy hit.
And just as expected, the player retreats because the Beetle drone isn't ready. Anything to win, sure, but at least learn how to use the gun properly. Anyway, he's deployed the Beetle drone and repositioned, and honestly, I respect the strategy. He's trying to play smart. But remember, it's not over until I win. We go back and forth for a bit, and to be honest, this guy's a real strategist. He tosses a fire nade, forcing me to move, and it works because I have to change my position immediately. Now listen up. Someone asked me on my live stream the other day, how do you escape situations where it feels like there's no hope? I said you just have to fight it out, but I was wrong. The key is taking advantage of something called map knowledge. When I'm in a tough spot, I quickly think of where I am on the map and the closest escape route. In this situation, I know exactly where to go, which is here. Now watch closely. I'm going to run a bit to trick the enemy into thinking I'm fleeing, and if he's paying attention to my footsteps, he'll chase right away. And just as planned, we've got Miss Emma exactly where we need her. Did you notice how quickly I flipped the table on her? That's the power of map knowledge and reading your opponent. 1 second, it looks like you're retreating, but in reality, you're setting up the perfect trap. That's what she thought she was doing earlier, but she got the wrong opponent.
I'm under fire. I'm reloading.
Godlike.
Safe zone is shifting. Loadout airdrop incoming.
I spot an interference drone in the sky, and that gives me exactly the info I need. Enemy location. I decide to use my Fulton balloon to push toward them, so I can pinpoint their exact position while I'm in the air. As I zipline, I get shot at, which forces me to change my location. But now at least I know their direction. Still sticking to the high ground play, I land on the roof and right away, someone redeploys their teammate to my right. I wait for the perfect moment, get a clear shot, and take her down easily. But while I'm shooting, someone else opens fire at me. I can't see them, but I know where it came from. To be safe, I buy an express shop for cover in case they're on the opposite roof. That way, I'll have decent protection. Smart team. One pushing while the other stays back, providing cover. I'm not entirely sure what their plan is, but I'm definitely not about to get stuck between two people. Since I don't know exactly where they're shooting from, I quickly buy a Fulton balloon and change my location immediately.
The safe zone is shifting.
Landing on another roof to maintain the high ground. It's always easier as a solo versus squad player. Now this roof has 2 people right below me, and I want you all to learn something important. When you're the one holding the high ground, patience is key. Let the enemy make the mistake of going wide while trying to spot you. You already have the advantage, so there's no need to stress yourself. If they had followed my method, staying close to the wall of my building or remaining inside until the zone pushed me out, it would have been a lot harder for me, but they didn't. Anyway, having taken one down, and with just my shield affected in the fight, I'm pushing the second player unexpectedly. I've taken out that squad, but I hear gunshots to the left. I see that it's just me and one other squad left. I know I need to finish this quickly. From the gunshots, it sounds like they're either in the middle of a fight or just finished someone, so now's the perfect time to push before they can regroup.
Like.
Good thing I pushed immediately because I managed to land some shots before she could react. However, I still hear footsteps from the same direction, indicating there's someone else. To confirm, I use Volt's skill, and this time, I get a hit marker. Even though I'm low on health, Volt's skill has done about 40 damage to the enemy's shield, giving me the confidence to quickly take him down. And just like that, we got ourselves a win. Anyway guys, remember the deal we made at the beginning of the video? Well, it's time to keep up your end of the bargain. Support me by following my new TikTok account. All you need to do is tap on the link in the pinned comment and hit that follow button. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me keep bringing you awesome content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Knox out.